Reading Room by Vex Noir. Hey. Episode: Machiavelli Addiction. There is a phase no one talks about. The phase after you read Machiavelli, and something in you shifts. At first, you think you're reading history. Old wars, old rulers, old betrayals. It feels distant, strategic, interesting, intellectual. But then something happens. You reread the same chapter weeks later, and it feels different. Not because the words changed, because you did. The first time you read him, you search for tactics, how to win, how to protect yourself, how to avoid being played. But the second time, you begin noticing patterns. You stop reading about princes. You start reading about behavior. And that's when the addiction begins. It's not addiction to the book. It's addiction to awareness. You walk into rooms differently. You notice who speaks too fast, who over-explains, who laughs too loudly at authority, who gets uncomfortable when ignored. You are no longer just participating socially. You are observing structure. And observation creates distance. Distance creates control. Here's the psychological shift no one prepares you for. You stop asking, was I right? You start asking, was I effective? That question alone rewires you. You begin replaying past conflicts, not emotionally, strategically. Where did I reveal too much? Where did I react too soon? Where did my ego need correction? You don't feel shame. You feel analysis. And analysis is empowering. Because once behavior becomes visible, it becomes adjustable. This is the real transformation. You become harder to provoke. Not because you suppress emotion, but because you see the mechanism behind the provocation. You recognize bait. You recognize insecurity disguised as confidence. You recognize when someone is trying to measure you, and instead of reacting, you let them measure incorrectly. That is a skill, a quiet one, but powerful. Over time, something else changes. You stop chasing immediate validation. You become comfortable being misunderstood temporarily. You realize perception is not something to correct instantly. It is something to shape slowly. Very slowly, you begin speaking less. But when you do speak, you've already calculated the consequence. You choose timing. You choose exposure. You choose restraint. And here is where the addiction deepens. You reread the same passages months later, and they unlock differently again. Because your experience has expanded. You're no longer reading theory. You're reading confirmation. Confirmation that the world runs on positioning more than intention, on leverage more than fairness, on perception more than truth. This realization does not make you cruel. It makes you precise. You stop wasting energy on arguments. You invest energy in outcomes. You stop needing to appear powerful. You focus on becoming stable. And stability is unsettling to those who rely on chaos. The final stage of Machiavelli addiction is subtle. You become internally anchored, not emotionally detached, not cold. Anchored. You can walk into rooms without needing approval. You can walk away without needing closure. You can remain silent without feeling small. Because now you understand something most people don't. Control is internal first. Power is structural second. Reputation is last. And once you see the structure, you cannot unsee it. That is the addiction. Not dominance, clarity. And clarity, once tasted, is very difficult to surrender. Some read Machiavelli for quotes. Others read him to change their architecture. Which one are you?